afternoon and welcome to our Friday show on the mark with Shaheel with myself. We're going to go through the card as best as we can. First of all, let us apologize about Wednesday's show. I wasn't very well and I was kind of given the day off by the boss. I'm fit and well again and been studying very hard through this card. 9 races to get through. Let's start off with race 1. It is a 990 025 rating. 9 runners here. On paper, it looks like Zenzero is going to be the horse to beat. He's got some good form over the 990. Good run behind that horse, What a Fizz, which apparently they put him in sort of high regard. What a Fizz, the Gajada stable. I think he's a nice horse myself. And Zenzero, from a 9 draw last time, managed to run second behind him. In my opinion, brings the best sort of form into this race, Shaheel. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Zenzero. It's one of those races that if Zenzero gets beat, well, then anything can beat it.
Yeah, right. Zenzero was actually one of my to follow last time out. Like you said, he had to overcome that 9th barrier, and he flew home on that day. And if I'm not mistaken, Manuel Nunes did drop his stick at the 200 meters, so that probably he could have finished a lot more closer. Like you said, a weak field, 990 should be in his favor. He's been running well. Even he's raced before one of his third to Badawi on the 990. I do believe Zenzero is the horse to beat. Okay,
dangers?
Probably Gondwana. I know his last 2 races hasn't been too good, but I'll go back to that race where he finished second, 1 length behind Wow Holiday. He's drawn 1, the blinkers back on, P.S. tried him on board on a featherweight. I do believe he jumps well, jumps on turn with them. He's going to be the biggest danger to Zenzero.
Okay, yeah, Gondwana. Probably in a weak field must have a chance. What about Night Chapel? He was only finished a length and a half behind Zenzero last time. He's had the 2 rounds this season now. Simon Jones looking for his first winner. I'd love to see Simon have a win. He's got a decent runner later on as well. But I suppose Night Chapel must have a chance as well.
He does. Like you said, he's got probably the best form over the 990 here in this field. He does go in with a chance. Another horse that I like is actually number 4, Hometown Hero. I know his form doesn't suggest that, but the way that he just went to the front last time, I do believe that the 990 will suit this horse. So let's see how Hometown Hero goes.
Yeah, I noticed that when he ran last time, he sort of had his tongue flapping out the side. So I see they haven't tied his tongue, but we'll see how Hometown Hero goes. At the end of the day, it looks like Zenzero should win. If he doesn't win, well, like I said, I think then any one of them can win it. So you're either going to take a chance, bank him in your pick 8, or you're going to have to put in quite a couple of, yeah. So Zenzero, you agree with me, the horse to beat in the first. So let's go Zenzero in race 1. He is the favorite. Let's move over to race 2. It's a 1450 benchmark 36. Silken Prince, that was a cracking debut when he ran second to Danger Rock in that 990. And, well, he has improved in work. He looks a lot better. He looks a lot fitter as well. Only thing is that second run syndrome, it's happened to a couple of horses, Shaheel, this year. Some horses that have been running really good first time up and sort of flattening out their second start and then doing better their What a Fizz comes to mind. There's a couple of horses, but Silken Prince, very good debut. He won his win in South Africa was over 1600, so obviously the 1450 is going to suit him a lot better. But I don't know if you agree with me. Are you going to make him your first choice?
Actually, I'm not. I'm going to go with Antwerp, but just to go back to Silken Prince, I think he was one of your 2 to follow last time. Like you said, very good debut. He's back after 3 weeks. Do you think that could be a bit too quick for him?
No,
going from the 990 to the 1450.
No, I don't think so at all. In fact, I've seen him in training. He's doing very well. This horse, he's definitely come on from the run. He's a 3-year-old. He's a young horse.
And obviously, he's got some very good South African form behind Hawam National Park.
Yeah, you imagine if Hawam was in this field, he'd probably. Yeah.
I'm going to go with number 8 actually. Antwerp. That was a very good run last time to Manitaran, even before to Aftik. Always gets beaten a short head. He's working really well, Antwerp. Like we said, Simon Jones have some decent runners this week, so let's cross fingers they bag this first win.
Yeah, I see they slapped the blinkers on him first time as well, and that's probably going to help. I remember watching his barrier trial with the blinkers. There was quite a nice barrier trial, so Antwerp definitely has got a chance. I put him down as my second choice. In fact, I'm a little bit worried about that second run syndrome with Silken Prince. I believe if he doesn't win, then Antwerp will probably be the horse to beat, although he is a 7-year-old now, but he's got some sort of consistent form. One horse I want to talk about is Aspara. I really like this horse. He won 2 good races last year. Unfortunately, the one was taken away from him when he pulled a positive, and then he came sort of back at the end of late last year after that 6-month suspension. I believe he's needed his first 2 runs. That was a good run, 1.5 lengths behind Aftik last time. Drawn 3. He's got 59 on his back. I'm expecting a big run from Aftik as well.
Aspara.
Sorry, Aspara, I beg your pardon.
I
He ran behind Aftik, but yeah.
I definitely agree with you because he missed the break last time out and he was completely at the back and rear of the field. He flew home to finish only 1.5 lengths behind Aftik. If he jumps on turns tomorrow, he's drawn free. I do believe he'll finish off really strongly.
Yeah, he's also Robbie Frad mentioned to me last season that he sort of really thought was a decent horse. Let's see how Aspara goes. A little bit of value there. I don't know what his price is, but obviously he's not the favourite. So Aspara, I definitely give him a chance as well. At the end of the day, I think 6, 8 and 9 to fight it out. I'm not going to put them in any sort of order. Tough race to sort of pick out the winner, because obviously Silk and Prince, we are a little bit worried about that second run syndrome. But probably 6, 8 and 9. Those are the three I'm going with.
Same for me too.
All right, great. Let's move over to race 3. It is the Vince Plus Souvenir Trophy. It's a 1850 benchmark 41. I have to say, these 1850s, they've sort of been run to true form. I mean, we're getting sort of the right results as far as the 1850s.
Napoli last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Napoli. All right. Well, let's have a look. Probably who's done the best over the 1850. Uncle JB is a 3-time winner. Mauritius, all 3 wins over 1850. He loves the distance. He's drawn 1. Bruno Rees, Shirish Narang, they sort of enjoying quite a good time at the moment as well. But I think Mind Blowing is the favourite, if I'm not mistaken. Probably no problem as far as his distance is concerned. I see he did run a 3rd behind Magnificent 7 in South Africa. What do you think about him stepping up to the 1850? You think he's going to appreciate it?
I think he's a banker, to be honest with you. I really love Mind Blowing. He got beat last time, and or else he would have been unbeaten this season. We talked about that in a couple of weeks ago in Jour de Galop. Since they've put on the blinkers on him, he's a change horse. The blinkers has done an amazing job with him. I do believe the 1850 no problem, because like I said, he's run over 2,000 meters back in South Africa. I think he's a banker.
Okay, so that's your bank of the day, Mind Blowing. Yeah, I reckon I'm going to make him my first choice as well, but I'm expecting a big run from Uncle JB. All the form around him has stood up. I mean, we'll see later in the day, horses that have sort of beaten him or just run behind him, have that form line has stood up. So Uncle JB, Mind Blowing. If you had to choose a third horse, who would that be?
Probably Bouclet Top. I see Olivier Placé has been taking a lot of time with this horse at track work. He goes up to the 1850. Let's not forget that 3 or 4 years ago, this was a top-class horse in South Africa. He's never proved that in Mauritius, but let's see how he goes now.
That's amazing. I remember when this horse came to Mauritius, he came with a big reputation. I remember Johnny Giroudis telling me he didn't think that this horse was going to do well in Mauritius. He never gave me any sort of reason. But listen, he's tumbled down in the ratings. The best run to date was obviously that 1.5 lengths behind Barack Levan. I've also put him down as my third choice, Bouclet Top. I think he's going to, if he's ever going to win a race, it's going to be sort of in this sort of category over this sort of trip. So you can't ignore Bouclet Top. I'm definitely going to put him into my exotic bets, Bouclet Top. End of the day, are you banking Mind Blowing?
Yes.
I'm not going to make him my banker. I'm going to make him my first choice to beat Uncle JB and Bouclet Top in the third race. Right, let's move over to race 4. It's a 1450 benchmark 46. And Rock on Geordies, I really like this horse. I remember last year he really runs with a lot of sort of courage and guts. This horse, he's drawn 1. Pierce Stradum's in the iron. Pierce obviously getting to know the track, as everyone says. I still don't believe that, but Pierre's been here for a while now. He's obviously getting to know the horses. Rock on Geordies, 2 very good runs this year. 2 lengths behind Virtue. Then last time, 3.5 lengths behind Waltag. Waltag, I think, has come out and won again. Yeah, he's won it twice again. So since that run, he's come out and won 2 more. Only sort of way he hasn't run since the 20th of April, which puts me off a little bit. But he's another horse that's working well. Some good work on Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, we never had our Jour de Galop, but when I watched the training afterwards, I thought he worked quite well. Rock on Geordies, drawn 1. Pierce Stradum, what do you think?
Yeah, 2 very good runs this season. Nicely drawn in 1. Let's be honest, it's not the strongest of fields in a benchmark of 46.
I agree.
Like you said, he's been working well. He should definitely be the horse to beat Rock and Geordies.
Yeah. Where are you going? Also, obviously, the favourite is In Your Dreams.
Yeah, I do believe he'll be the only front runner. And he's drawn 4. Only quick horse on his side is probably Belenos, but he hasn't been showing a lot of pace these last couple of starts. So I do believe that I've noticed, I've watched his races last night. He's a horse that once he's get in front, it's not easy to settle him. He's a bit keen up front. Even Manuel Nunes can't settle him. So if he shows that again tomorrow, probably Rock on Geordies is going to grab him on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, in your dreams, I went back and had a look at. I couldn't really find any excuses for that last poor run.
No, he drank awkwardly and he was a bit slow, so he had to use a lot of petrol to get up.
Okay, all right. Well, that's probably why he sort of finished in a hole. But obviously, yeah, like Shaheel says, if he does get to the front comfortably, he's obviously going to be a hard horse to catch. That's how he likes to run. That was a very good second to Boya as well. So on form, he looks like the right horse. I just think Rock on Geordie's is going to sort of nab him late, especially. Oh, he has won a 1500 in your dreams, but I just think that maybe Rock on Geordie's is going to grab him. One horse I want to mention is Memphis Mafia, Shaheel. He's not the most consistent horse, but I reckon he's got ability, Memphis Mafia. He's one of those horses, when he comes to the racetrack, in the right sort of frame of mind. He's drawn 3. Darryl Holland knows him pretty well now. He's ridden him twice. Probably disappointing last time. I was like sort of keeping an eye on him, and he just sort of faded. But that's the sort of horse that he is. But if he puts his best foot forward, definitely has got a chance here as well.
A horse that I'd like to mention is number 5, Pride Dog. Just look at the horses he's run against. Holland County, Crazy Vision, Opera Royale, Bad Attitude. The only concern is the 9th row, but if Carl Zachner can get him into a decent position, I do believe Pride Dog could be in the trifecta of quartet.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the 4th race, it looks like it's a little bit tough on paper, but I'm leaning towards number 2, Rock on Geordie's. I've got a lot of respect for number 9, Memphis Mafia as well. I reckon he's got the ability. It's just whether or not he's going to put it through on the day. Right, let's move over to race 5. Probably what I feel is going to be my bank of the day is number 10, Uza. All sorts of trouble last time. Got caught wide, came into the top of the straight, had to switch out badly, went down 2 lengths. Watched the race again last night. Very, very unlucky. I think the extra 100 meters is going to be in his favor as well. There is a turnaround with the weights with wall tag. Obviously, Racing for Fun finished in front of him. This time, Racing for Fun drawn 11. And he never sort of had the sort of tough race that Uza had. I believe that Uza is going to take a power of beating.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, he had such a tough race last time. He was caught wide throughout the race. He's drawn better this time, so he probably will be in the box seat from barrier 3. I've watched his gallop some. His gallop with White River last Friday and on Tuesday with Nordic Chat. He's working really well. And there's that weight turnaround with wall tag, so that plays in his favor. So definitely Uzo the first choice.
Yeah, what do you think about wall tag? I mean, obviously he's been a revelation this year. He's won 3 in a row, but his weight's gone up dramatically. I mean, he got a 3 kilogram penalty for his last win, and the 1500. I can't see wall tag
Staying.
I wouldn't say staying. I don't think it's going to. Yeah, well, I mean, he won a 1450. He beat Hastings, but I just that 16.5 on his back. He's come up in quite a lot of class. I think it's going to be tough for him. He might prove me wrong, but I think it's going to be a little bit tough for Walter. I can't see him beating Uzo again. Put it that way.
Yeah, I do agree with you. He's gone up a lot in the divisions. The weight now catching up to him. He's drawn 1, but I do believe he'll be in the quartet. But it's going to be tough to beat Uzo.
Yeah. What about Titsikoma Dance? This also got some magnificent South African form. I mean, if he had a sort of barrier trial not so long ago. He didn't look 100% fit, but he has come on a lot from that barrier trial. This was, if he runs to his South African form, I think he will annihilate this field on his South African form. Just obviously a big question mark how fit he is, how he's going to sort of take his first run here as well. But he's a horse that I wouldn't leave out of anything either. Anything else? I mean, we've touched on Racing for Fun. What about Act of Loyalty?
Yeah, probably. He will run out of the placing for the first time last time.
First time ever in Mauritius. It's 16 runs, only been out the money once.
Let's put it that way. Not the best of rides from Kirsty Ramsamy that day. He had a lot of criticism after the race. He's back after quite some time now, after 3 or 4 weeks, I think. He's been working well too. He has to overcome the 8th barrier, but he's such a consistent horse that he has to be there.
Yeah, I don't think that draws too much of a problem for him, Shaheel. He's the sort of horse that comes from midfield. But you know one thing, when you've had a little bet on Act of Loyalty, you know you're always going to get a run for your money. He always tries so hard. At the end of the day, I reckon Uzo is going to be a tough horse to beat. I'm going to make him my banker of the day. Obviously, we got Cool at Heart later on, but anyone can give that as a banker. But Uzo, I think he's going to be quite tough to beat in race 5. Right, well, we were just talking about Cool at Heart, and here we are. It's a real pity about White River. I mean, I think we were all, the whole of Mauritian that follows racing was probably looking forward to this sort of match race, Cool at Heart, White River. Unfortunately, he refused to work on Thursday morning with Pierre Strodom. Eventually, Ashani Mamdig managed to get him to work, and then he came back. They weren't sort of 100% happy with his soundness, and they've made the right decision. I mean, he's a champion, White River. Send him home. back to the drawing board, fix him up, bring him back later. He's a top horse, so let's hope that White River sort of improves and gets over whatever sort of problem he has. Back to the race. I don't think we're going to take too long to talk about this race, Shaheel. There is only 4 runners. Can you see the favourite losing?
No way.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, 100%. This horse has just been more and more and more impressive every time. He impresses me, improves me wrong every time. This time I'm not going against him. The most sort of convincing thing is how sort of when he goes over that final road, how he just sort of in hand just pulls away from the field. It's very, very.
But tactically, how do you see this race pan out? Do you think Will Jorin will try to go up with him? And I don't think Will Jorin will stay the mile. I mean, he hasn't done anything good over the miles.
You know, Shaheel, this horse is winning his races at the start. I mean, he shoots out those gates like an elastic. And even with the 61, I think this is probably going to be like a barrier trial for Cool at Heart. Yeah, so we agree on that?
I don't know who runs second. I think probably Ideal Secret.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the weights, Ideal Secret should be carrying 5.5 kilos.
Less.
Yeah, less. But because they've compressed the weight, so he's very badly handicapped in this race, Ideal Secret. But he probably is, in my opinion, I agree with you, probably the second best horse in the race. But I don't think we need to discuss race 6 much more.
Last week we had a trifecta with Viking, Trail, Licario, and Roll the Night. Probably go with the exacta of 1 for this time.
Okay. All right. 7th race on paper. Does it look like a 2-horse race, Boya and Afdik?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
With the scratching of number 3 from the Ashes.
Yes, right. Remember, number 3 from the Ashes has been scratched. So if you've just got home from work, you're watching the show, you don't know, from the Ashes has been withdrawn. All right, let's talk about the 2 horses we want to talk about. Which one you want to talk about first, Boya or Afdik? Which one you putting?
I actually like Afdik, huh?
Yes,
He's won in a good fight last time, and Texas Sky has come out to frank the form last week. It is a big jumping class because he goes from a 36 to a 46, but I think it's such a progressive sort. I've seen an interview of Darrell Holland during the week. He scalloped him on Tuesday, and he said that his horse gave him a proper feel. He's a proper racehorse, so Afdik, he does have the class to run in the 46, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you can't fault his form. 9 runs in Mauritius, 4 wins in 3 places. He was a difficult horse to ride in the beginning. I think he still is. I think Darrell sort of like got him where he wants him. If you go back to the run on the 7th of April, when Boya beat him by 3 lengths, you remember that day he sort of gave Darrell a very hard time. He sort of had to go around the field, and he got beat 3 lengths in the end. But you know, this time he is 3 kilograms better off. There's a 3 kilogram swing on that run. Yes, Boya was obviously, he was having his first run. He gave his jockey a hard time that particular day as well. He's also settled down, Boya, but I'm just going to lean towards Afdik. I think he's, like you say, he's a progressive sort. There's a 3 kilogram swing. Darrell Holland knows him pretty well now. I'm going to put him as my first choice to beat Boya, which is, I would imagine, is the favorite. Yeah, I think Afdik is at 600, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so there's a nice little value bet there, Afdik. Boya, done nothing wrong. He beat In Your Dreams. He's beaten Come On Sunny. I just can't help but think that maybe Afdik's form is a little bit stronger.
Okay, yeah. Like you said, he's won 2 races very nicely. He looks to be a little good horse in the making, but like you said, yeah, his form isn't that impressive compared to Afdik. And stable jockey combination hasn't had a winner for 2 weeks, so they'll definitely want to win with Boya. But it's going to be a nice match between these two.
Yeah.
Probably Giles Tiger as the referee. He could probably lead in this race. He's drawn 1. Last time that was a great run because he missed a break and he was finishing off really strongly against Glorious Goodwood. If he jumps on terms tomorrow, let's see how Giles Tiger goes.
Yeah, I agree. Giles Tiger will be my 3rd choice. He showed a lot of nice form last year, and there was a good run. His 2nd run of the season. Looks a lot fitter, and I think the Reset stable is going to sort of ignite soon. So let's keep an eye on Giles Tiger. Right, race 8. Very open races, race 8. A couple of horses got a chance this year. I'm going to lean towards Redwood Valley. I know it's always tough to win 3 in a row, but the reason why I like Redwood Valley is probably he beat Napoli last time. I think the 1600 suits him down to the ground as well. Like I said, never easy to win 3 races, but he's a horse that I went back and had a look at his form last night. He's done well in this rating before. When he first arrived in Mauritius, look, it was 2 years ago. It was 2017, but he ran a couple of good races in this rating of 31. I don't think this is the strongest 31 that he will ever meet, but Valorin, Napoli, they're sort of not bad horses in that sort of division. The form has been franked, and I reckon that Redwood Valley, I'm definitely not going to bank him by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to lean towards him as my first choice. Green Street Tractor, that was a good run behind Cyber Special. Maybe the 1850 too far for him.
Different, yeah. No, but just to go back to Redwood Valley, like you said, his 2 win has been so impressive actually, because around the horn time he's still in hand, and he eats up that ground in the home stretch.
Yeah, I think this horse and Darrell Holland really seem to get on well. I think Darrell's really got him, he's got him under his finger, and he's really ridden this horse well. That's why I'm leaning. I'm going to say that it's always nice to see horses win 3-4 races in a row. It's never easy, but I reckon Redwood Valley could do it in a field like this. What else do you like?
My value bet is actually in this race. I like Great 5-8. He also beat Napoli, and he beat him by 1.5 length on his penultimate start in 0.26 last time. He got beat by Planet Dune, but Planet Dune won the race by 6 or 7 length, I think. So he ran third to him. He's drawn 8. If he can cross over and get into a prominent position, probably 1 off or something, I do believe that Great 5-8 will give Redwood Valley a good run for his money.
Yeah, interesting that he won 2 races in South Africa over 1600. But here in Mauritius, what is he? Well, he won a 1500. It's just, you can't say that the distance is going to be a problem for him, because he's won over 1600 in South Africa, but his sort of best form has been over the 1400, even though he did win a 1500 as well. You don't think the mile will be a problem for him?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Rasta Rebel, always knocking on the door. Green Street Tractor, I suppose that they've fancied him a couple of times, and he's let them down.
Even number 1, Julie Dar, he always finishing off his races really well. Crazy Vision, Aftik. He's down in class now, in a benchmark of 31. He's drawn 2. He will fly at them again at the end.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it is a tough race. I'd like to see Redwood Valley pull off the hat-trick. I must be honest. I love seeing horses winning sort of 3-4 races in a row. So at the end of the day, 8th race is a little bit tough. It is the last leg of the pick 8. You might want to put a couple of those in. We did have bankers early on. Right, then race 9, it's the Great Gusto Plate. It is the lucky last, 1400, I beg your pardon, 0.26. Shaheel, what do you think? Taranaki, second run syndrome maybe last time. It wasn't a bad run. He never disgraced himself, but he got beat just under 2 lengths by Dealer's Charm. It was a nice, interesting race that. What do you think? Do you think he'll sort of bounce back?
I do think so. Like you said, second run syndrome, but this time third run peak run. So let's see how he goes. He's looking really well in the mornings. Do you think the 7th draw could be a little bit of a concern for him?
No, I don't think so. If you go back to his first run, yes. He was sort of, he was at the back of the, well, not at the back, but 3/4 way back, ran on nicely. Typical second run, he sort of jumped, and he was, in my opinion, was just probably traveling a little bit too well. I would like to see him sort of given a chance and finishing the race. After the order, here's another horse that ran on very strongly last time, although he did get beaten by over 4 lengths, Mr. Hardy. Mr. Hardy's form has franked that. He came out and, well, he was probably, I wouldn't say unlucky. I thought was it Bruno Reese that rode Texas Sky? Yes. Gave him a terrific ride. It was really a good ride to beat Mr. Hardy last time. So that form has been franked. Another horse with a poor draw, but it does come from off the pace after the order. If I'm not mistaken, he is one of my 2 to follow. I have been following. His work has been very good. It'll be nice to see Raj pull off another winner after a spinner coin. And then I want to touch on one more horse before I pass over to you. This horse, Silver Heritage. He's got a very good last run in South Africa. He doesn't look like he's ready, in my opinion. He doesn't look like he's ready, but he seems like a nice little, classy little horse, and I reckon he's going to be really running on well at the finish, especially that 10 draw. He might not have any option but to sort of drop him in. But I think he's going to be running on, so if you are a trifecta quartet player, I would put in Silver Heritage. He looks like a nice little horse. He's well bred. He's by that, he's Silvanos, and Silvanos really do well, and just keep an eye on Silver Heritage. Remember last year, Consul of War, we never touched on him at all. He won at 25-1, and you never know. Silver Heritage, in my opinion, even his barrier trial, he was green, and he finished 3rd or 4th, if I'm not mistaken. But I reckon he's going to run a decent race as Silver Heritage, a horse to follow for the future.
Definitely. The other newcomer is a nice South African form too, a master of Spain. He's running against the like of Frank Love, Poatami, JJ's Dynasty Nexus. His barrier trial was pretty good. Jana Baldita gets the right. He's drawn nicely in 4. I do believe Master of Spain could be a danger to Taranaki. Silver Heritage, owned by a very good friend of mine, so I wish her all the very best with that.
All right, yeah, I see Master of Spain never ran with blinkers in South Africa. They're trying him with blinkers here first time. So, yeah, interesting races. But I think if Taranaki reproduces his debut, he will be the horse to beat. All right, well, that's 9 races done. Shaheel, we're going to finish off with our bankers. I think mine was Uzo.
Yeah, mine was mind-blowing.
Yeah, and then value bet, I'm going to go with Afdik. I think that at 600 rupees, he's definitely worth a small little bet. I mean, you can't fault his form. He's 600 rupees, 5 to 1, definitely worth a value bet. Your value bet?
Grade 5-8 also, I think, at 600 rupees. So let's see how he goes in race 7 or 8.
All right, great. Well, we had quite a good week last week as far as the tipping was concerned. I just want to say thank you to we had some lovely comments on Facebook. Really appreciate that. Remember, we will be back on Wednesday. Hopefully none of us are sick. And we'll do our Jeu de Galop show on Wednesday. And we'll catch up with you then. Have a great day's racing. And remember, we are trying to build up to that Barbie Cup. It looks like it's going to be a great race. And I'm definitely going to be sort of concentrating on the Barbie Cup runners for the well, I think it's in 2 weeks' time, no? Yep. All right. Thanks, Shaheel. Thanks very much for joining me. Thank you very much to our viewers. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday. Goodbye.